This is how we dominate the planet. He's like, oh, this trade deficit is up. It's up. We got to fix the trade deficit. Who's going to buy American-made products in much poorer nations, you idiot? You have the SWIFT system. 80% of all trade happening is literally controlled by America. And now he's over here of Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal. Holy fuck.
Mr. President, I want to first thank you for inviting me again to the White House. You've been a remarkable friend of the State of Israel. You stand by us. You're standing.
I don't know if you guys saw the tweets of people on the timeline being like, please, I hope Jews do control this entire system. Please fix it. I saw people posting being like, oh my God, I've never wished for the Jews to be in control of the global financial marketplace until this very moment. Please, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, sir, please control it. Please fix it.
I just want you to know from the heart, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. As you said, we had the opportunity to talk today about many subjects. First, if I can mention tariffs.
Yeah, this piece of shit came here to do his laundry. Okay, that's why he's here.
I said to the president a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the position of the United States. It says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you have put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs, and rapidly. I had the opportunity to speak.
What is this? No matter what happens, just remember it's the Jews.
We talked about how we could affect this quickly, and I hope to bring a solution very quickly. We're not talking about intentions.
Dude,
we're not talking about,
that's just cope, okay? You can't say Nazis are coping today, okay? They simultaneously are like, oh yeah, Jews are these all-powerful magic money people that are controlling the global financial market. Look at the Rothschild family or whatever. And then simultaneously, this fucking Christian guy is just dunking on the global financial market. And it's like, well, it's the Jews again. It's the Jews again. They did this somehow. It's like, come on, man.
Another one when I was in Hungary before I came here. I speak to them every day.
You think they would let this happen? Are you crazy? If they had motion like that?
Steve Witkoff, who was President Trump's very able representative, helped us get a deal that got 25 out. We're working now on another deal that we hope will succeed. And we're committed to getting all the hostages out, but also eliminating.
God, I hate this piece of shit so much. I hate him so much. He's such a f***ing monster. God damn it. Also, Donald Trump put his chair in again, by the way. Look at Russia Today, loving it. Netanyahu inside the White House. Trump's helps with the chair again. He's got to be doing it on purpose, right? Like, there's no shot.
Countries that might be amenable and are amenable to accepting Palestinians of their free choice if they choose to go there. And I think that's the second thing. But the hostages came right on top. We also discussed the situation in Syria. We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated, and we don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attack in Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The president has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the President of the United States for this purpose. And of course, we also discussed Iran. Look, we're both united in the goal that Iran does not ever get nuclear weapons. If it can be done diplomatically in a full way, the way it was done in Libya, I think that would be a good thing. But whatever happens, we have to make sure that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. That's the end of my speech.
Mr. President, we're having direct talks with.
I can't stand how arrogant Israel is overall, and especially Benjamin Netanyahu is. There's no way people look at this and think like, no, this is valid actually. Like if I'm a random dude in Arkansas and already have like anti-Semitism in my mind, and I see shit like this, I see Donald Trump putting the chair up for Benjamin Netanyahu, I see Donald Trump making my 401k scream, and then turn around and glad handle Benjamin Netanyahu as he just sits there in the most entitled, arrogant fashion and be like, yes, we are going to do a very important deals, like we can bomb whoever we want, all this shit. I'm telling you, there's no way, there's no return from that.
Ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore. We can't be the stupid people anymore. And it's all because of the people that sat in the seat right here. Not your seat, but this seat. They allowed things to happen to our country that they shouldn't have allowed to happen on trade and other things, many other things. I mean, look at what's happened with our last president, where he allowed millions of people to come into our country with an open border. Who would want an open border? How stupid is that? But he allowed millions and millions of people, and of the millions, and I think it was 21 million people, but let's say 3 of them were serious criminals, serious murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from jails. All the jails emptied out right into our country, right along the open border on Mexico, generally the Mexico. They came in from Canada too, by the way, a lot. But generally speaking, on the southern border. And what a shame it is that we are now working very hard to get them out, get the criminals out, get the murderers out, the drug dealers, the mentally insane, get them out. They dropped the mentally insane in our country too. And this was all done by the Biden administration. It's a disgrace that we have to work so hard. And then we have judges that try and protect these people, but they didn't protect us when the people were being let in. But to get them out is never easy with these people. So I think we're doing a great job. The border is the best it's ever been. It's even as strong as it was. I had a great, solid border. I think it might even be tougher right now and stronger. So people are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. We have a legal process, and we have that moving along properly, because we need people to come into our country. But we want people that can love our country and cherish our country. So that's where we are. And with that, any questions? Well, we're not looking at that. We have many, many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country, because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan. And they sold millions of cars into our country. They don't really take our agriculture, a little bit of it just to keep us slightly happy, but they don't take what they're supposed to be taking. So we have a great relationship with Japan. We're going to keep it that way, but they're coming in to meet, and other countries are coming in. With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China. But they can't do this with just, we're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it, because we have been just destroyed, what they've done to our system. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. And the reason is that people allowed it to get that way. So we'll be talking to China. We'll be talking to a lot of different countries. And I think, you know, if if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were in the Oval Office put America last, and we're not going to stand for it.
He's actively destroying the country. He's actively destroying the global economy. He's destroying everything. He is dude, look, I am not a spiritual person at all, okay? But you got the fucking 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You have pestilence, RFK Jr., bringing back measles like it was, like it fell out of fashion, and the trend has created it once again. It's fashionable again, okay? You got fucking Donald Trump, a false presenter of Christendom, destroying the global economy for no discernible reason, for no real reason. I'm fucking the economy because I'm bored, okay? That's what he's doing. And also simultaneously undermining the remaining protections that average citizens have against government overreach, destroying it. It is crazy. It's end time shit. What are we doing?
Very end.
How do all these evangelicals not recognize that this is like real end time shit?
So there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are a lot of things like opening up countries that were totally closed. China's essentially a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country. And what they do is they charge tariffs so that if you sell cars,
every day I think to myself that this is going to recover because there's too much vested interest, that like the Fed is going to bail them out. But like even if they lowered interest rates, I don't even know if you could bail him out in this process. Like he is accelerating a recession in an effort. Let's say he's trying to trigger a recession with the hopes that the Fed will bail him out. Okay, let's say that that's the goal here. Because that I feel like that's like that's one of the things that that he could be trying to do. But even then, like what do you do? What do you do in that process? Like that's not gonna work. It doesn't make sense. Wait, what the hell? The video broke. Now the video broke. Oh my God, the video broke. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, nothing works, dude. Nothing works. My microphone didn't work when I first started. Nothing is working. Oh my God! Oh my God! The Chinese beam hit it.
Because a lot of people are asking the Houthis. We've been very tough and very successful militarily. We've really damaged them badly. These were people shooting down ships and other things, by the way, flying objects like airplanes.
I gotta pee.
We've put a major hurt on the Houthis, which nobody's been able to do. We've really hit them hard, and it's every night after night, and we've gotten many of their leaders and their experts. They're experts on missiles. I mean, they actually make missiles. Nobody thought that, but they make missiles. They're highly sophisticated, and they're very tough, but they've been very badly damaged. Nobody else was able to do that but us. Pete, you want to discuss that, please?
Yes, sir. It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis. And it's about to get worse. It's been a devastating campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent. And it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear, the Iranians as well, they should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has been made very clear. So we have a lot more options and a lot more pressure to apply, and we know, because we see the reports, how devastating this campaign has been in them, and we will not relent.
We have a great military. There's no military like our military, and despite Biden having given a lot, but nevertheless a pretty small piece, but it was a lot of our military away in Afghanistan, and one of the dumbest situations, I think, and maybe the most embarrassing situation.
It was Biden that was dumb. You, sir, are brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for the $1 billion in defense of Israel's genocide by bombing the poorest nation on the planet. You are so sick. Is this recent? It's live.
Where they're parading trucks that are armor plated.
Yeah, the Houthis are hurting, dude. Far from being cowed by U.S. airstrikes, Yemen's Houthis may be relishing them.
We have a tremendous.
It's so good,
military.
Mr. President. Please keep
military
bombing
during my
Yemen,
first term.
and also please
And,
keep bombing
we,
the financial
we
markets.
had great,
You're doing
great
so
things
well,
happening with
Mr.
our
President.
military.
You are
We
a
also,
special boy.
Essentially approved a budget which is in the facility. You'll like
It
to
would
hear
be
this,
so funny if after all of this, he removed only Israel's tariffs. That would be fucking amazing. Donald Trump literally is just like, Donald Trump does not care. He is actively trying to make everyone go, oh, okay, I guess Israel, the Jewish state, is in control of America. Never mind. The relationship is not the other way around. He's just like, yeah, that's right. I'm doing this. They're powerful money people. That's why I'm doing it. I'm revoking the tariffs.
It had nothing to do with
Only on Israel.
And they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out. But we are getting a very, very
Ekonomi bu kadar kötü gitmesinin nedeni nasıl kapitalistlere bağladın? Abi kime bağlayayım? Nasıl kime bağlayayım? Kim şu anda? Kapitalist değil mi Donald Trump? Salak mısın?
Anything that we have ordered, and it's in many ways too bad that we have to do it, because hopefully we're not going to have to use it. But the military is very, very powerful, and it's going to remain that way. Yes, Queen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about Iran, because this is the first time we hear that the U.S. is having a direct contact with Iran.
I think I'm gonna.
Give us some more information.
By the way, I've never read this. I've never read this book, but I've seen it be recommended quite a bit.
We're dealing with them directly.
I've never read this book personally, but I've seen it be recommended quite a bit. And obviously, like, I've read pieces from this book, but it's beginning to feel a lot like this in the United States of America. And I might have to go back on my old ways and maybe read a goddamn book for once, because a lot of the things that Donald Trump is doing, because like the USSR was obviously forced to be dissolved, right? But there was a lot of spectacular failures along the way that led to the collapse. This book goes into that directly. On the one hand, you get Pizza Hut and Pepsi. On the other hand, you have to liberalize your markets, and you do that by collaborating with Western with Western analysts, and as the regime is falling apart, all of the people with power that collaborate with Western authorities on the matter make out like fucking bandits. A shock doctrine, if you will. One of the guys that is responsible for this, for the record, is ironically a dude who's very woke now, but played a formative role in all of this happening to the USSR. His name is Jeffrey Sachs, friend of the show. Wait, Trump responds to the EU offer says not enough?
Over the years. It was formed to really do damage to the United States in trade. That's the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe, I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And they formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force.
It's beginning to feel a lot like the collapse, the internal collapse of the USSR.
The same countries.
But this time it's not being accelerated by outside forces, like Western capitalist forces that wanted this to happen. And instead, it's just happening because we're bored.
Where they paid NATO, because most of these nations weren't even paying. We were paying for NATO, so we're paying them to guard them militarily, and they're screwing us on trade. So that's not a good combination. So now...
What is this?
It's really turned around. It's the
Trump may
opposite.
escalate the Libya-style
The
regime
European
change
Union's
war.
been
Regional
very
diplomatic sources say
very bad
preparations
with
are
us.
underway for a ground
They don't
operation.
take
Oh
our
my
cars,
God.
Like Japan in that sense. They don't take our agricultural product. They don't take anything practically. And yet millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the U.S., but we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union or other places, but let's go for the European Union. And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair, reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair. We have a deficit with the European Union of $350 billion. and it's going to disappear fast. And one of the reasons and one of the ways that that can disappear easily and quickly is they're going to have to buy our energy from us because they need it. They're going to have to buy it from us. They can buy it. We can knock off $350 billion in 1 week. They have to buy and commit to buy a like amount of energy. And we have that. You know, we have more energy than any country in the world. I don't know if you know.
Dude. He was asked if the EU zero tariffs enough. His answer, not enough. He also waved away suggestions that U.S. trading partners would go to China. They want to be in the arms of the U.S. Yeah, because the tariffs are not about tariffs. They're not real tariffs. Well, Trump is instituting real tariffs, and the counter tariffs, the retaliatory tariffs, are real. But the reason why he instituted tariffs to begin with were not because those countries had tariffs. It's because of a trade deficit that we have. And Donald Trump doesn't understand why America has a trade deficit. It is a trade-off so that the United States of America gets to maintain the global currency in which global trade happens with the dollar. This is the responsibility. This is what happens. America is the largest consumption engine on the planet, and also simultaneously, all of the fucking trade is done on the US dollar. This is how we dominate the fucking planet. He's like, oh, this trade deficit is fucked up. It's fucked up. We got to fix the trade deficit. Who's going to buy American-made products in much poorer nations, you fucking idiot? You have the SWIFT system. 80% of all trade happening is literally controlled by America, okay? And that is partially as a consequence of the way that we have designed the global market. It's partially a consequence of our trade deficits with these countries. It is fucking crazy. It's crazy. He doesn't understand it. How does he not understand this? You're the president.
Crazy.
Twice now.
Week, they said eggs have quadrupled in price. I said, I just got here. Tell me about it. And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job. And eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place. And this was a problem that somebody else would have taken a long time to cure. We have energy is down. We have interest rates are down. We have groceries, meaning food is down. We have everything is down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. Energy looks like it's going to be in the $2.50 a gallon range and maybe below that for a car. So for gasoline. So we're really doing amazing. I mean, we're cutting prices because prices got so high people couldn't live. I mean, the prices for groceries, the prices for standard groceries, standard things were going through the roof. They couldn't live. And now those prices are coming down. So call them groceries, but that's down, energy's down, and interest rates are down.
The only reason why I don't think Yanis Varoufakis' analysis is correct is because I think he's falling into the trap of thinking that Donald Trump and his administration are actually moving in this direction deliberately and with a clear goal in mind. Okay? Yanis Varoufakis believes that Donald Trump is trying to devalue the dollar, okay, and create some semblance of trade parity that will boost manufacturing in the long term in the United States of America. The issue, on the other hand, is that there is none of the underlying reasons, the skeletons are not there for there to be any sort of parity whatsoever because there's no manufacturing here. Not only is there no manufacturing in the United States of America, there's no way to boost manufacturing. Without centrally planned economies, you will never be able to quickly develop the infrastructure necessary to become a competitor to China. And even if you had the ideological backing and the money, which America does certainly have the money to do this, okay?
It's a tough place in the world.
Even if you had the ideological backing and the money, which you don't have the actual interest in doing this, you don't have the time, like physically. You don't have it. This would take at least a fucking decade.
Well, I can't really say that, but I think it'll be.
So on the one hand, while I understand Yanis Varoufakis is trying to make sense of it all and trying to read the tea leaves and say that like Donald Trump wants to, you know, create a more even process on the global stage so that there's like at least more American manufacturing. There's no fucking American manufacturing.
As an example.
And there's no appetite from the labor aristocracy to go and work at these jobs anyway. And also, Donald Trump would not make it so that these jobs are actually well-paying, high-benefit jobs regardless. And he has no interest in fixing some of the other affordability crisis points that pressure Americans every single day. Most importantly, the housing market. So he is the worst guy to do this.
People were in unbelievable distress. They said no. I said, all of them. I said, did they ever wink at you like, you'll be okay? You're going to be okay? No, they didn't do that. They'd slap us. The hatred is unbelievable.
I think you're both wrong. I think he's just justifying his tax rate increases
really
revenues without calling it a tax hike, which is what tariffs are. No, I've said that. I think there are a couple top-line agenda points here that Donald Trump has openly mentioned.
Is bad, but pipes are worse. And the stories I heard were incredible. But I just said, was there any sign of potential love or affection? And there were none whatsoever. It was amazing to me. There was nothing like, here, take this, it's a little extra meal or something. They lived like hell. I don't know. They were amazing to me because they seemed to be pretty normal. They weren't scarred, but I guarantee underneath they have to be scarred. And one was there for 356 days. Another was there for about 180 days, a long time. These are people that have been...
Did Giannis really say Trump is doing this for good? No, Giannis thinks it's going to fail, but I think he thinks that the Trump administration has like some intelligence behind these decisions. I don't think so.
That you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they've brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5, and I hear maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult. The
he wants to dominate. He wants to basically do something that technically in international trade is illegal, but there is no way to escalate these disputes to an international body like the World Trade Organization. So he basically wants to dominate whatever decisions governments are making that maintain their sovereignty. Like, for example, you don't want hormone-infused American meats? Well, fuck you. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have your own personal regulatory body that has decided that like American meat is substandard quality and cannot be sold in your markets? Well, guess what? It's going to be sold in your markets. You're going to take our bleached chicken, as a matter of fact, by force. That's what is going on here. That's what the point is. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to, 1, decouple America and the rest of the world from China. 2, he's trying to forcibly fix trade deficits by forcing these countries to violate their own sovereignty and purchase American products without even actually beefing up the manufacturing side in the United States of America. So I don't even think that there is a capability to fucking send all of this shit to the rest of the world. He wants to undermine the World Trade Organization and rebuild it in his own vision, even though ironically that is the point. That is what happened initially. But then China took advantage of that situation by, developing quite rapidly. And here we are. None of it has anything to do with like real tariffs. It's not. It's if you are stuck on the word tariff, you'd be lost in the sauce. I think those are the top line goals of this administration. The only way this would work is if like the dangerous instability that Donald Trump presents from his position of authority is met with the resentment that like European powers have towards Chinese administration, the Chinese administration, and therefore they go, okay, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Those guys are literally Chinese. At least these dudes are white and dangerous. It's the evil that I know versus the scary Chinese. So I'm going to go with the evil that I know. And they just capitulate to Donald Trump's insanity somehow, which still fucks them over. Which still completely fucks them over in the process. No, it quite literally, like the European trade policy right now is a Nick Mullen bit. You're literally Chinese is what they're saying to the other side of the trade equation. They're just going, you're Chinese.
Our country will have to reset the table. because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end. But we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000, you wouldn't think it's possible. 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA, which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done.
What is that? Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy that this keeps breaking.
They cheat like crazy.
Nothing
Canada
works anymore.
cheats,
America
Mexico
no
cheats.
longer
It's one of
dominant.
those things.
Nothing works.
We are resetting a table, and we're going to have great trade, and we're going to have a very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has maybe never been, or maybe, you know, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based.
Oh my God! Oh my God! He's so
then in
stupid.
1913, some genius
He's so
came up with the
stupid.
idea, let's
1870 to
charge
1913
the people of our country,
is
foreign
not comparable
countries that are
to
ripping off our country.
2025. You're
And,
so fucking
countries
stupid.
never-
Why are you
Well,
like
we
this?
never that
How can someone?
well. We had so much
How can
wealth,
someone
we didn't know
say
what to
such
do with our
stupid
money.
things?
We had meetings. We had committees.
It's so
These
dumb.
committees works
You know you okay, Donald Trump knows this is a dumb comparison. You know why? Because just a couple weeks ago he went, everything's computer. What do you think that is? Everything's computer. You said it yourself. Everything's computer. You think it's the same? You think was everything computer in 1879? No, nothing was computer. Everything's computer now.
Help Israel a lot. You know, we give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a lot. Congratulations, by the way. That's pretty good. But we give Israel billions of dollars a year. Billions. It's one of the highest of, and we give a lot of countries money. You wouldn't believe if I said we give Afghanistan a lot of money. Do you? Because that was a Biden deal, another Biden deal. Not only did he embarrass us with that, but they give them billions of dollars, Afghanistan, right? So, but no, we take good care of our friends, and we don't take care of our enemies. We're not taking care of our
lower
enemies
Israel
anymore,
tariffs. He
but
said
we do
maybe
take care
not.
of our friends.
The IDF is fighting again in the Gaza Strip. I myself might be called up in a month. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? And do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but you know, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. It's a, you know what I call it, a great location that nobody wants to live in, because they really don't. And when they had when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
Is the immigration, sorry, Mr. President.
He loves it. He's such a vile dog, dude.
Which immigration?
They're both such evil fucks. He's talking about
All
mass
it is
ethnic
a
displacement, the
concept
Nakba
that I
as
had that I think is
oceanfront
good, and now
property,
People are copying it. You know, maybe do you want to
purging
people are talking about
millions
Brooklyn.
of people,
Gee, why don't we do that?
750,000 in 1948, to a tiny area known as the Gaza Strip, as giving them graciously oceanfront property.
And any other place, including in arenas of battle, I mean, whether it's Ukraine or Syria or any other place, people could leave. Gaza was the only place where they locked them in. We didn't lock them in. They're locked in. And what is wrong with giving people a choice? Now, we've been talking, including over lunch, about some countries, I won't go into them right now, that are saying, you know, if Gazans want to leave, we want to take them in. And I think this is the right thing to do. If you give, you know, it's going to take years to rebuild Gaza. In the meantime, people can have an option. The president has a vision. Countries are responding to that vision. We're working on it. I hope we'll have good news for you.
People, I will say, people love, excuse me, people really do love that vision. It's a long-term vision, but so importantly is to have that be a safe field, because you're right smack in the middle of the Middle East. You're right along Israel. It should have never, ever, shouldn't have been given
What do
away
you
by
mean?
Israel.
What are you talking about? They were there. Who's giving it away?
They promised peace, but that didn't work out too well, because it's one of the most dangerous.
They were there
pieces of
before
land
Israel.
anywhere in the
Oh my
world.
God.
Gaza is one of the most dangerous.
Oh, he's
places
talking
in
about
the world.
2005?
So they gave it away for a good intention, and it didn't work out that way. And a lot of people like my concept, but you know, there are other concepts that I like too, and there's some concepts I don't like. You know what I don't like? The way it is now, because right now it's a dangerous death trap, Gaza. Yeah.
The concept he's describing is final solution ethnic cleansing.
Do you still plan to meet with him? Could that happen in Saudi Arabia? And maybe you could elaborate as well a little bit on not providing tariffs on Russia, sir.
So
I want to see what Asmongold's
the
chat is
reason we're
saying
not
about
talking
this.
tariffs with Russia is 'cause we're not
By
doing business,
America
essentially,
being
with Russia.
dominated by a foreign
They're at
leader.
war, and I'm not
Let's
happy
see.
about what's going on.
Let's see what the fuck
with,
they're up to.
With the bombing, because they're bombing
Let's
like
see how
crazy
base
right
they
now.
think
They're bombing. I don't know
Two-Faced
what's happening
Netanyahu.
there. That's not a good situation. So we're meeting with Russia. We're meeting with Ukraine. And we're getting sort of close, but I'm not happy with all the bombing that's going on in the last week or so.
Okay, they don't like
Horrible.
it. They don't like
It's a
it.
horrible thing.
They don't like it either.
Horrible thing.
Hassan literally checking your chat. What a bozo. I like to fucking see what the other
in
side
terms
is
of tariffs?
saying. Maybe you guys can learn a lesson from that as
Taken
well.
advantage of for 40, 50, 60 years. And the reason we got ripped off and the way they did it was tariffs. They would charge tariffs, massive numbers of dollars. And when you look at China, when I took over, it was at $507 billion they were making. I call it
People will be
making-
like, Hassan wants to be in an echo chamber. And then when I step outside of the echo chamber, they go, Hassan is stepping outside of the echo chamber. It's a crash out. No, dude, I want to know what you guys are thinking.
$507 billion that
We all live in this country together. I got to know what y'all are up to.
and we were very, very tough on them because
Asman fans hate you, but got you on the other screen. I know, that's kind of funny.
Then when Biden came in, he let him get away with murder. He had no idea. I'll tell you what, that man had no idea what was happening, whether it was the border or China or anything else. He had no idea what was going on. And they went wild. China went wild. And the money they make is ridiculous, okay? It's just not going to happen. And hopefully we'll get along with China. If we do, that's great. And if we don't, that's okay too. But we can't let that continue because that's an abuse. They abused.
Why are you tapping the glass?
poor
I'm
people
not.
that
I'm
sat
trying to
in the
look
seat.
from
That
afar.
poor Biden, he was
But they
abused by
recognize that
them. They took
I'm looking
advantage
from
of him.
afar,
I'm
and they
surprised. You know, they have
they
smart
realize that they're
people.
being
They were
observed
radical left lunatics,
like
but they're
zoo
smart.
animals.
I'm surprised they'd allow that.
And then
to
they
take,
start acting
you know,
out.
to happen. But we are going to bring great trade, and we're going to be fair to other countries. And I will say this: virtually every country wants to negotiate. If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't have anybody wants to negotiate. We would have gone to these countries, you want to talk? And they were, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us. They're offering things like even Bibi, and this is unrelated because it's a different kind of a relationship. But he started off our conversation today that he's cutting all of the tariffs. He's cutting everything. He's going to get down to a free base. He's going to do things that, in all fairness, other countries, if they said that, would have never even thought about doing it. Now they're offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for, because they're experiencing a lot of hurt. And the hurt is that they've taken advantage of us, and we finally fought back. Tariffs will make this country very rich. We're rich anyway, but we're rich in a certain way. We have $36 trillion in debt. I want to get rid of it, and we can do it quickly with proper deals. So when countries don't allow us to sell our product, but we allow them to sell their product, when they charge us massive amounts of money for the privilege of going into their country, those days are over. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sir?
Me?
Yeah. He sounds so
Thank
surprised.
you, Mr. President. On Iran, two questions, please. First, you can give us more details about where the meeting on Saturday is going to
I can't tell you that. I can just tell you there's a major meeting going on between us and Iran, and that'll take place on Saturday, and it's at top level.
And second question about this. A lot of people think that those talks are not going to lead anywhere because the Iranians will never give up their nuclear program.
I think that's a possibility,
if
too.
diplomacy fails, is the United States, under your leadership, ready to take military action to destroy the Iranian nuclear program and remove this threat?
I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to be in great danger. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon.
So is that a yes?
You know, it's not a complicated formula. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is.
So
Can't have it.
ready
Right
to
now
take
we have
military
countries
action?
that have nuclear power that shouldn't have it, but I'm sure we'll be able to negotiate out of that too as part of this later on down the line. But Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the talks aren't successful, I actually think it'll be a very bad day for Iran if that's the case. Yeah.
Mr. President, on manufacturing.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, was October 7th the death blow of the two-state solution, and would you consider classifying the Palestinian Authority as a terrorist organization for its continued pay-for-slay terror financing payments?
So October 7th was a horrible day that some people, they deny it. Now, I can't believe they deny it from the standpoint of it. They do it because they think it's good politically. But I've seen the tapes. I've seen things that you don't want to see. October 7th was a horrible day, and it will go down as one of the really bad days in the history of the world. It was a horrible, horrible thing that happened. And they grabbed some of these people. I'll give you an example. When I was with the 10 hostages a few weeks ago,
No,
I said, so how many are there? 59.
I
said,
said this.
"Oh,
We'll
so
get to that in a
59,
second.
So we can get 59. They sort of knew the territory pretty good. And I said, how are they doing? They said, well, only 24 are living. The rest are dead. And these are young people largely. Young people don't die. You know, young people have an amazing ability to live. They can live through horrible things. But these are young people. And when they said that 24 are living and the rest are dead. And, you know, I've had parents come up, Israeli parents largely. We have some Americans, and I guess we have one left. Alex, we have the one left. But I've had Israeli parents come up to me at events and say, my son is there. I said, well, how's he doing? Well, he's dead. But would you do me the biggest
What?
favors
That is
ever? Put his
insane.
body back home.
How is he doing? Well, he's dead.
About a young dead boy.
He has such
and
a
young
fucking
dead
insane
girl.
way with words, man.
Like, they were
This
living.
is like such
And
an
that could have
insane
something
way to
to do
talk
with
about.
religion,
Such an
that could
insane
have
way to talk
something
about
do
things.
with,
Oh
I
my
guess
God.
maybe any
No
pride would be,
tact.
But I was surprised. They said, sir, my son is dead. It is just as important to bring that body back home. I asked that question as if he were alive. So you have a lot of them dead, and we'll be able to bring them back. But these are largely young people. Some old ones too, frankly. And those people have lived in hell. When they came off, the second group that came out, they looked like they just got out of a concentration camp. They looked exactly like the pictures that I'd see from the 1940s, the concentration camps. And then they got a little bit better, you know, but that second group, those people came out and I said, this is unbelievable. We're going back into a chapter in history that is one of the worst ever. It's really very bad. Okay?
American manufacturing fully up to speed in response to these tariffs. What happens in the meantime? Should Americans be prepared potentially for years of disruption?
We have now $7 trillion. Think of this, $7 trillion of commitments from companies wanting to go in, from Apple to many, many companies.
But that takes time.
Many from Taiwan. What?
It takes time to
Of course it takes. Well, are you asking me a question or are you telling me? Yeah, it takes time. You know, you got to build a thing called a factory. You have to build your energy. You have to do a lot of things. I'm giving them energy. You know, we're going to let
Why
them
are they
build
jumping
their own
topics and completely
power
ignoring the
plants.
genocide? Why do you think?
Essentially,
Because both
they're
of
gonna be
them
in charge
know
of
that
the
it's a
power
genocide
plant
and like
because
it.
Our power is not reliable enough. You have a grid that's old and susceptible to a lot of things, including bombing and weather and a lot of other things. And we're going to give them record timing in terms of approvals of electric plants. Most of them want to build electric plants. We need massive amounts of electricity if we're going to compete with China and others. And interestingly, we're way ahead right now in the AI race with China. But the way we lose that race is if we can't give them electric. But we have more plants being built. We have everything. We're doing so great. And we want to keep it that way. And tariffs will be an important part of it. But one of the other things, Lee Zeldin's doing a fantastic job, head of environmental protection. And he's doing very rapid approvals for people to get, for big companies that are going to build a plant that's going to cost billions of dollars. And we're going to get them their approvals. They have to be environmentally perfect, everything good, but they're going to be in record time, a matter of months versus a matter of many, many years. Okay? Go ahead.
Turkey claims it will stabilize the situation in Syria.
Turkey?
Yeah. Israel
This is
doesn't want
huge.
Turkey to influence
Yeah.
Syria. What do you think? Do you think Turkey's influence in Syria can actually make it a better, more peaceful country, or vice versa?
Well, I have great relations with a man named Erdogan. Have you heard of him?
No.
And I happen to like him, and he likes me, and I know the press will get very angry. He likes Erdogan, but I do, and he likes me, and we've never had a problem, and we've gone through a lot, and we've never had a problem. We've always got, as you remember, we got our minister back from Turkey. You remember that? And this was a big deal at the time, and we got him back. And I told the prime minister, I said, just, Bibi, if you have a problem with Turkey, I really think I'm going to be able to work it out. You know, I have a very, very good relationship with Turkey and with their leader, and I think we'll be able to work it out. So I hope that's not going to be a problem. I don't think it will be a problem. Now, with that being said, I believe it was Turkey, and I said that to him. I said it. I said, congratulations. You've done what nobody's been able to do in 2,000 years. You've taken over Syria with different names, but same thing. I said, you've taken it over. He's taken it over through surrogates. He goes, no, it was not me. I said, it was you. But that's okay. You don't have to say, well, sort of maybe it was me. Okay. But what he did, look, he's a tough guy and he's very smart. And he did something that nobody was able to do. You know, you got to hand it to him. Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. I mean, as long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable. We have to be reasonable. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
The Syrian case is a particularly interesting one because the Turkish government and its actions are advancing the interests of NATO and advancing the interests of the United States, as Donald Trump is pointing out here, in Syria specifically. But Israel also is the American client state. So we are quite literally, once again, in Syria, funding both belligerents, okay? Funding both sides, and they're fighting one another. It makes no sense. For those of you who don't know what happened in Syria, Israel has obviously been relentlessly bombing Syria. And one of the And one of the last rounds of bombing was where Israel struck some Syrian facilities where Turkish engineers were, and apparently killed a bunch of Turkish engineers, Turkish nationals. The thing is, both of these regional powers have interest in dominating Syria, and they have also they're getting the go-ahead from the United States of America, which is a unique predicament because, like I said, that was fake news. Oh, come on, dude. Marwan, the Syrian goat, you're so fucking annoying every time I talk about Syria, dude. Every time, dude. Every time. Yeah, Israel's not bombing Syria. Is that a fake news? Or Turkey doesn't have coalition forces in Syria? You act like Turkey didn't play a formative role in taking out the Assad regime in Syria. Why do you always say this? Why do you always say this? If they're acting like no Turkish people actually got fucking killed in the process, it is probably to save face. Okay? That's it. Because, once again, both sides are funded by the United States of America. Both sides are operating at the behest of the United States' grand vision, its grand plan, its grand design in the region. Okay? That's it. That's it. There is a reason why there are there's so many there's so much social capital that Erdogan can expend in the process of dominating its political opposition in the country right now without the American government saying anything about it. And that is because he has played the role of a loyal servant and undermined a significant logistical hub for Iran because of a incredibly weak tyrant that allowed virtually every country that would let him keep power into Syria and operate through Syria to create a direct pathway from Iran to Lebanon. This was a major issue for Israel and therefore a major issue for the United States of America. It's not like Assad was personally invested in, I don't know, the liberation of Palestinians or whatever. That was not the case at all. But given his weaknesses, he gladly agreed to Russia using Syria as a warm water port in exchange for dominating all the opposition forces, and same with Iran. The whole Syrian the last round of the Assad regime's collapse that happened seemingly overnight happened because Turkey's coalition forces alongside the HDS were able to very swiftly overtake the entire country and in the process destroy one logistical hub that worked, that played a formative role in allowing Iranian weapons to expediently go to Lebanon into the hands of Hezbollah. The ISIS guy will agree to letting Russia in too if he ever wants his airspace. Would you say it's accurate that Turkey wants to turn Syria into client state and Israel wants to balkanize Syria into one or multiple client states? I think Israel wants more. I think Israel wants Syrian territory. That's what I think. And I think Turkey also wants to turn Syria into a client state, maybe like a Belarus style situation. And it's two of America's attack dogs in the region competing with one another for pieces of Syria, like larger control over Syria. The smart play would be to leave it in the hands of Erdogan from a pure American standpoint. I'm not saying it's the appropriate thing to do, but the smart play for the United States of America would be to give it to Erdogan rather than Israel, because a lot of the Islamist forces, like the fundamentalist forces, a lot of the Sunni population also carry a shit ton of resentment towards Israel, but they actually fucking love Erdogan. Therefore, if your goal was to maintain stability in Syria and allow Syria to no longer be in the hands of Iran in any capacity whatsoever, without more destabilization, it would be to turn it into a Belarus for Turkey. But Israel doesn't want that because Israel wants more land. Israel wants more territory. This is the reason why they're fighting against each other in Syria right now. Moral thing to do would be to allow Syria to have a full democratic process, but that's never going to fucking happen. America does not care about the autonomy or the livelihoods of the Syrian population, let alone its own population. These guys don't even care about Americans. Why the fuck would they care about Syrians? You know what I mean? But yeah, Israel has been, for the last couple of days, been posting shit like this. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan tells Reuters Turkey wants no confrontation with Israel and Syria. Ultimately, actions mean more than words. We'll wait and see how things play out. Israel will prevent the establishment of Turkish air bases or naval bases in Syria, says senior official. If Turkey crosses red lines, Israel will take action, he says. It sounds like Israel is now threatening to start a new war with Turkey over Syria. Present Israeli leadership is committed to total war against all its neighbors in addition to a final solution to the Gaza problem. They are becoming something like Imperial Japan or Nazi Germany. Not becoming something like Imperial Japan or Nazi Germany. They are Imperial Japan and Nazi Germany. They literally are. I don't think that it'll get to this point, though, even though, as you guys know, I don't make predictions anymore. You know, I've learned my fucking lesson. But both of these sides are ultimately America's lapdogs, okay? Turkey is America's servant. It's a NATO nation. It's got American nukes inside of American military bases in Turkey. That's not going away anytime soon. That is precisely the reason why no matter how much Erdogan plays both sides, turns out it turns around and collaborates with Russia, collaborates with China, it still doesn't fucking matter. Ultimately, Turkey is still an extension of American empire. Okay, Turkey as a state, Turkey as a state, serves the interests of America first and foremost. That much should be clear to every single person, especially after what took place in Syria. Middle East, Israel and Turkey already agreed not to fight law. Yeah, Israel always and Turkey always. Two notorious regional actors that actually play ball with deconfliction. Notoriously. Turkey and Russia have violated their own deconfliction law.